Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Ignite Your Creative Spirit Summit. Today, I'm really happy to have with me Eva Charlotte. Eva Charlotte is an acclaimed facilitator of transformation, inspiring deep and lasting change through her presence, wisdom, and ability to allow existence itself to flow through her. For more than 25 years, Eva has studied and taught with healers, shamans, and masters from many different traditions. Among these masters was Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of the Four Agreements. The Toltec master selected Eva for an individual and intensive training that lasted 9 years. She gave talks, taught workshops, and coached individuals alongside with Don Miguel and his family. Today, Eva shares her message, Rise in Love, a message of authentic love of self and life, the happiness that comes from stripping away your personal stories, beliefs, and falsehoods that shield us from our true selves, releasing all need for mental control. So welcome, Eva Charlotte.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be with you all.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. You are fresh out of a 5-week journey into the jungle. So I'm really curious to hear what that experience was like for you.
Oh my God, it's always amazing. This is my third time to this particular place, and I guess it really came to me in ways that I wasn't seeking at all. I got really, really sick some years ago with Lyme disease, and circumstances led me to end up in the jungle. And out of everything I had ever tried to make any kind of change with that particular illness, that was the only thing that had worked. It changed everything. I've been going back there ever since. It's my place of recharge, my place of my personal transformation, my personal work, going deep inward. It's very simple. These people, they live on wooden platforms with leaves as roof, and sometimes they're walls, sometimes not. There's no electricity, no running water. You wash in the creek. Sun goes down, you go to bed. It's, in a way, it's a dangerous place. It's the jungle, but there's so much surrender there. It's so different from our daily life, and to just surrender into that place and just be. They don't live in the doing. They are.
Yeah.
Yes, they're active. They're taking action in their lives. They have to survive. They hunt for food and all that. But they're not doing. They don't have the doingness. That's so liberating. People just are. And fall into that rhythm and the simplicity, and just be able to go inward and just dig deep into myself. It's just incredible going there.
What are some of the biggest discoveries when you move from doing to being, and how does that kind of feed your creative energy and your creative spirit?
That's a good question. I like that question. In the beingness, the stories fall away. It's easy to connect with what I truly am instead of what my personality, my Eva Charlotte thinks she is. And just be with the essence of my being, and allowing that flow. When there's not a story of have to do all these things, inspiration just naturally comes up, because it's always there. And the mind kind of gets in the way of all of that. But when you surrender into yourself and into the beingness, inspiration just flows. Like this time, for instance, I've always stayed with the shaman and his family, but this time I built my own little house, and they helped me with the main structure, like the poles in the ground and all of that stuff. But then I was left with everything else, constructing a kitchen and stairs and all of that. And
wow, really? You built your own little house in the jungle.
I know.
That's so cool.
My mind was so frustrated. I come here to do internal work, and here I am doing all the external stuff. But that was the internal work. Because in that action taking, which was not a doingness, it was an action. Inspiration just flowed. I would walk through the jungle and I would see a beautiful piece of wood, and that's beautiful. Pick it up. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, and then I can use this for this, and then like one It's really how I have lived my life, where I don't make plans of this is where I'm going. The traditional way of living, you set a goal and then you make a plan how to get there. I have a desire where I want to go, and then I let the flow come through me, and it just is one step at a time. So then when I've reached my goal and people ask, well, how did you do that? I don't know, because I never really made a plan. I just followed my inspiration, my creativity, and it comes in the moment. It doesn't come in like a whole plan.
Yeah.
And the house was built that way. It really brought me back. I had kind of lost touch with that a little bit, which is one of the reasons I really wanted to go back. And it totally reconnected me with my creative spirit.
It reminds me of like being a kid, and we used to go out in the backyard and make forts out in the backyard.
I know.
So that kind of thing, you're like living out the kid's fantasy of, I'm going to build my own little fort out in the jungle.
Come visit. I invite all of you to come visit.
Yeah. It sounds like an incredible process. And then what about studying with the healers down there? What's that like for you? What are you learning? What kind of big gems are you getting from them?
It's really complex. I work with the shaman. He has lived his life in service. He started his training when he was 5, I think. And when he was 10, his grandfather took him out into the jungle on a walk, he thought. And they built a little hut, and they spent a couple of days there. And then the granddad said, well, I'm just going to go and grab some stuff. And he never came back. He left him there for 10 years. 10 years.
Wow.
So that was his training to really go inside and all that.
Wow.
So he's not interested in the recreational kind of stuff. For him, the shamanistic work is sacred.
Yeah.
And he's using the medicinal plants and all of that, and it's really sacred work for him. And just witnessing him and how he works is a gift in itself. It's beautiful and so connected with the jungle. I remember the first time I was there, I had a moment. I was really, really sick with Lyme and desperate and didn't really want to live. And I had a moment of feeling sorry for myself, and I was crying, and he walked in and just took one look at me and said, just fix yourself. The jungle will not respond to you this way. It's a waste for me to take you to the jungle if you're like this.
Ooh.
And later on, I learned that when I was really centered and connected and I walked into the jungle, deeper into the jungle. We're already in the jungle, but it takes me really deep into the jungle. And if I'm just open, the jungle sings when I come. It just, all the animals and the sound is just like a symphony when I come. And if I'm disconnected and had mind stuff going on, it just goes completely quiet. It's fascinating. It's which is really what's going on everywhere. Life is responding to us all the time. It's just so obvious there. Maybe because that environment is so different from our regular environment, and it's such a clean reflection.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. I have the gift of having some amazing clean reflections as teachers in my life. So it's not unfamiliar.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating to have it in the nature itself like that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I really like the piece of, because there's no distractions, it can be so obvious when you've got the wall of your noise in the way. So let's say that not everybody can get down to the jungle, but can you kind of give us some ideas of how can we be like that, find that presence in our life, in daily life? What are some reminders of stripping away that noise?
It's really a process. For most people, that doesn't happen overnight. It's possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's possible. For most of us, it's a process. I like to say that one of the main things is to become aware of what you're doing in this moment, to have a little mini me on my shoulder.
Yeah.
and become really aware of what is my mind doing in the moment. What am I telling myself? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
For most humans, there is no awareness. Like, it's an automatic.
Mm-hmm.
Running on automatic. When we come into this world as a newborn child, there is no shield. There's just open presence.
Mm-hmm.
There's a human body, like the animal, the body, and life passing through it, but there's really no mind yet. The brain isn't mature enough to form the mind. So life can just pass through. Life, what we truly are, can just express itself through this baby child.
Yeah.
But as we mature, as the brain mature, the mind is forming, we're learning all these different concepts. I'm told that I'm Eva, and for me as a child, that's really just a sound. It doesn't mean anything. I just know that when my parents call Eva, I'm supposed to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Like a dog.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a sound.
Mm-hmm.
It's sound that tells me put attention.
Mm-hmm.
But as time progresses, I begin to think that I am Eva.
Mm-hmm.
I start identifying with Eva and all the things I have ever been told about Eva. And that's, I'm a girl, I'm Swedish, I'm lousy at singing, I'm good at drawing, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's individual for each and every one of us. So now the construct of Eva is what I think I am.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, Eva is running the show.
Yeah.
And she's not even real. She did not exist when I came into this world. She's just a structure of beliefs
mm-hmm.
and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to go beyond Eva, to be able to know that I am not her, yes, it can happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
But this mini-me, to become aware of who is Eva, what is she doing? That's the first step in my process of rise, to look at the person I am today and really ruthlessly looking at this person, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What is she doing in every moment?
Yeah.
There's many, many things we don't really like about ourselves. We push them down. We don't want to see them. Mm-hmm. But they're still running the show. They're still there.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's the great reminder that we do need to have that awareness to keep checking in. Like, are we with our story, or are we, opening to greater consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you mentioned RISE, and so your acronym for that, I got my little piece of paper here. Your acronym is Recreation, Inspiration, Separation, and Evolution. So can you tell me a little bit about your RISE process that you work with people? It's really a result of my own process, and I can share that also. But the acronym is, for me, it's a very powerful process, starting with reflecting on yourself, the recreation of yourself, having a desire to recreate yourself and reflecting on yourself, what we just talked about. Like, yeah, totally. Who am Eva at this particular point in time? Mm-hmm. And ruthlessly looking at that. And that brings us into the next step, the inspiration and the introspection, where you really see at the depth of your being who you are, why you are like that, what you like and what you don't like, what to keep and not to keep, and realizing as you go deeper that there's different aspects of your being, and the construct of Eva, as we just talked about, really isn't real, and there needs to be a disconnect, a separation from that, a willingness to let go of what I thought I was. Is that what you mean with the ruthless exploration? To just like, it's not always easy. So talk to me a little bit about the ruthless approach, because you've said that a couple times. I'm just curious, like, what do you mean when you say the ruthless looking at that? has my curiosity for sure.
Yeah, it's a word that triggers often. It really often
It's triggering my curiosity. It's not like making daggers go up. I'm just like, ooh, what do you mean?
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to have teachers that treated me with ruthless love, and that's where that word really comes from.
Yeah.
Where there's no escaping the truth.
Uh-huh.
To really face the truth, whatever that is. And truth can be seeing the magnificent of what we all truly are, that blissful, beautiful, spiritual aspect of us. But it can also be facing the demons that we carry deep inside and acknowledging that.
Totally.
Okay, I am doing this. I have an agenda, or I am selfish, or I am manipulative, or whatever it is that we're carrying inside.
Yeah.
To really open up to the whole spectrum of all of what we are and all our emotions, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Because really, everything, literally everything is part of Source, God, the light. And it's only our minds that's decided that this is good and this is bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it takes like a ruthlessness to do that, to really stick to, okay, I'm going to face whatever comes up. I'm not going to run away.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that word. I'm going to start incorporating it. I really do. And I think that there's a real importance in, like, you know, spiritual work isn't always like, la, 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 lights. It's like, we got to look at like the shadow too.
Yeah. It can be really ugly at times.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is beautiful in itself.
Right. It's the full spectrum, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's all beautiful, but the mind, the storyteller, has its ideas, what's acceptable and what's not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All part of the one.
Yeah. So what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from you've worked with so many wonderful teachers? What are some of the biggest lessons you've gained from that?
Whew. Wow.
I know. It's like, how can I answer that question?
I think really coming from what we just talked about is to embrace it all, just love it all, which sounds so easy, but when
I know, right?
Yeah, when selfishness or ugliness or self-pity or whatever it is come knocking on the door, opening that door up and inviting that emotion in, okay, you're welcome too, and just embracing it without getting hooked, without being pulled and start believing and running off in some tangent. That's the most important thing.
And so, yeah, it sounds super easy. And then it's hard. So what has been inspiring for you? Like what was the motivation to, like, okay, I'm just going to embrace all this?
Oh God.
I mean, was it because you had the Lyme disease even? You know, I mean, I'm curious if that pulls it in, you know?
Remind me of that part, because that's an important part. But no,
I know. I kind of went off on a little track there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it. That took me to a new level.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Revisit that.
We'll come back to that. But no, this has been, I don't know. I think it came with the birth water somehow. It's always been my passion.
Okay.
I've always had a drive for free. I always called it freedom. I don't necessarily use that word now because I don't know what I would be free from.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe free too. If I think it up free too, then it could work. But that's always been a drive. And of course, the story I would tell around it has changed as my awareness have shifted. But even ask my mother, she would tell you it was there when I was really tiny.
Yeah.
And then it's just throughout my life. And when I was 21, I had reached a place in my life where I had everything I'd been told I needed to be happy, and I was still miserable.
Yeah.
There's something else. It's not about this external money and career and relationship and all that. Even if that's nice, I enjoy all that, but it's not about that. It was always this pull, this knowing that there's something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whenever I get complacent in my life and feel, okay, I like my life, then something is still pushing me. And if I don't take action, life will make me take action.
Right. Yeah. And I'm imagining that might does that circle back to the Lyme disease piece? Forcing you to take action?
In a way, yes, very much so. I really loved my life. I was studying with, I was apprentice with Don Miguel, managing his business, living with him as his woman, all part of the training. Like all scenarios is set up for him to be able to teach. But I liked my life. I loved it. And I knew it was time to take the next step, that I needed to step out of that dream, and I wasn't taking that action because I was attached to my life.
Yeah.
I got really sick and it all changed. Now I couldn't manage and I couldn't do all that I had been doing because I was sick. So yes, life kind of picked me out of that environment and put me to focus on healing. But that's not the only thing. Part of the training with Miguel was to be really detached from the story of Eva, to be able to stay calm, centered, and happy no matter what. And I have a very strong intent and a strong will, and I had reached that place where I could, whatever was going on, I knew how to stay centered and calm and happy and focused and keep creating and all that. I had mastered that aspect, but I hadn't cleaned up everything within me. So there were still parts I was unaware of. I knew they were there, but I was strong enough to hold them, to ignore my thoughts.
Knock, knock, knock.
I know. I did know better, but I didn't want to change my life. So I kind of, Well, that's what I did. And with Lyme, let me say it this way. 99.9% of all our emotions are created by the mind, by our stories.
Yeah.
Yes, we have natural, real emotions. Like if a lion is attacking you, you will feel fear. Or if you're falling, you feel fear and all that kind of stuff. But most emotions are mind created. And if they're mind created, you can change them. You created them, you can change them. You can control them. And I had mastered that. I was controlling my emotions. But with Lyme, it's not the mind that creates the emotions. It's the bacteria.
Yeah.
And my mind had no control over those emotions. And Miguel was using that as another tool to take me to the next level. And he was talking about how I needed to learn to surf on the waves of the emotions. And I would surf and I would fall and I'd get back up on the surfboard and I would surf, and I got pretty good at that as well. But that still wasn't enough, because it was so intense. Those emotions were so intense. For me, the Lyme bacteria went into the central nervous system.
Interesting.
It's very individual where it goes. It can go into the joints or into like an organ. But for me, it went into the central nervous system, which means that like a technical way of describing it is like the brain swells. So it feels it's under attack. And it's looking for where is the attack coming from, but there's nothing there. It's looking externally.
Yeah.
You're paranoid, living with the fight or flight response all the time, because the body thinks it's under attack and it's ready to fight or flee.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. It's just horrible. And there was no way to control the emotions, and the only way to make them go away or be less would be heavy medication, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know the word. Like medication you give to people in mental institutions. I don't want to take that kind of medication. Yeah. So I tried everything and nothing helped, and eventually it came to a place of surrender. I had to surrender. I had to accept all those emotions and allow them to be.
Mm-hmm.
I had to open the door and invite them in,
Mm-hmm.
and learn to live with them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I reached that deep place of desperation and despair and surrender that things started to change. So it really pushed me to that place of awakening, I guess.
Yeah.
Where it's an embrace of what is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is exactly what happened in my skydiving accident, where my reserve broke and I was falling to my death, and my mind realized there was nothing it could do, and it surrendered, and there was peace. And I've been searching to return to that place in my daily life, and Lyme's disease was the catalyst for that.
Wow. Powerful gift.
I know. Everything really everything that comes our way is a gift.
Yeah.
I don't always feel that way. Like that, those years with the change of my life and losing the life I was living that I loved so much, and going into this deep despair of a pretty ruthless illness.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun, but oh my God, such a gift. And I wouldn't have gone there because the stuff I was hiding, I guess is the word for myself, like deep the pain I was carrying.
Yeah.
I would never have gone there. Never.
Yeah. It's so interesting how the universe and forces, the more we're ready, the more we get presented with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's intense. That's an intense story.
But my desire for complete freedom, my intent for that is very real. Mm-hmm. Like that is the most important thing. And for me,
yeah,
I like the external life. I love all that. I love sharing my gift. But ultimately, that personal journey, if I don't do that, I have nothing to share. That is the most important thing for me. And life responds. So, yeah.
Yeah, clearly.
If I'm not doing my work,
wake up call.
Yeah, but I'm asking for it.
Yeah.
Not everyone is asking for that, but I am.
Yeah, totally. I hear that. I hear that you've invited that in, and you've had these incredible experiences and opportunities.
It's not that it has to be that. It doesn't have to be hard. I think you can awaken through love and joy and happiness. It's for some reason I have a very strong will, and sometimes that's a gift. Sometimes it's not, because my mind is stubborn. So
I hear you. I hear you. I can totally relate to that. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing your story and your wisdom and inspiration and all of that. And so you're offering a free gift today. And actually, I could imagine it could be really awesome and helpful for somebody you're going to offer a download PDF and a meditation and the opportunity to have a free consultation, which could be great for somebody who may be struggling with Lyme's or facing some sort of real debilitating issues. So can you tell us a little bit more about your download?
I created a meditation. It's short, 5-6 minutes. Mm-hmm. Something everyone can carve out.
Perfect.
Preferably in the morning. It works best then. It's all about aligning all aspects of your being, so you have more access to all that you are throughout your day.
Yeah.
It's easy. Just try it out. You might not feel any difference within the first 2-3 days, but if you stick with it, I guarantee it will be a difference if you stick with it.
Great.
Everyone can use that. And if you feel ready, I would be so happy to have a conversation with you. We'll carve out 25 minutes, but if we really get flowing, it could be much longer than that. If you're ready, talk with me.
Great. Well, I'll put the link there. And then also, you are leading some incredible journeys, physical journeys to Peru in June 2017. So can you talk a little bit about what you've got brewing?
Yes, I'll be going back to Peru in June, and the 9th, I think, 10th. starting with Machu Picchu,
Mm-hmm.
about a week in Machu Picchu and the surrounding areas there, exploring all that,
Mm-hmm.
doing all the touristy stuff, but also going deep within.
Mm-hmm.
Great mix, and I'll be co-leading that with my friend Daniel Gutierrez.
Mm-hmm.
Links and all the information is on my website,
Mm-hmm.
www.uevacharlotte.com.
And I'll also put a link here with this so that people.
Oh, wonderful.
One-stop shop.
And once we've been in Machu Picchu, Daniel and I will go to the jungle where I just came from.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be offering 2 different versions there. You could either come 1 week and just get a taste of what it's like, work with some medicinal plants. If you want to, you can come without doing that. It's completely optional,
Mm-hmm.
but it will be offered probably 2 or 3 times during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could come 2 weeks. I will be staying 2 weeks. So if you want to have a deeper experience and really get an opportunity to really work with yourself
Mm-hmm.
in the jungle, go for the 2-week option. So there's really 3 trips: Machu Picchu, 1 week in the jungle, 2 weeks in the jungle. You can come to all of them or just one.
Sounds awesome. On the 2-week, will they be building their own house? That's probably.
Actually, that's
I was kind of joking.
no, it is an option.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah. Well, great. So I'll provide links for that. And if anybody's interested in keeping in touch with Eva Charlotte, please click on those. So thank you so much.
You too. It's been fun.
Lovely, inspiring conversation. I really, really enjoyed it. So
me too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. You have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.